Hello, happy Wednesday. So, on Monday, we talked about elements of a story. So, grab your notebook with your notes and a pencil. We're going to quick review our characters and then we're going to go into settings today. So, as a character, as a quick review, a character is the characters are the people, animals, or imaginary creatures or things who take part in the story. So on Monday, we talked about how we have our major characters and our minor characters. Remember, our major characters are the most important animals, things, or people in the story. And our minor characters are the characters that interact with our major character, but they play a smaller role. They're not as much of a big deal. So remember, that is our characters. And our characters can think, act, and feel in the story. Our goal after reading a story is to be able to describe the characters we read about. So now we're going to go into settings today. All right, so we are going to write down setting in our note, and the setting of a story is the time and the place of the story. So where it's happening and what time it is. That could be the year, that could be what time of day. All right, which means the story can be in the past, the present, or the future. So that would be the setting, and it can also be the place may be real or imaginary. Because if it's a nonfiction book, that means it's true. But also if it's a fiction book, it still has a setting, but it could be completely made up. So we're going to take the story that we read on Monday, which was Mr. Postmouth's Rounds, and we're just going to talk about this setting. So remember, the setting is where it takes place. And so looking at the pictures, I can see that it's taking place in a forest, and there are houses. We can tell from the trees, and if we keep going, again, we see our characters, but looking around at the pictures, we can see the setting. So let's go back and see if we can read it and just by that figure out what the settings is. So it's Monday, and so now we know what day it is. It's Monday. It's present. So that's when this story takes place. And Mr. Postmouse is starting his rounds. He carefully loads up his little wagon and sets off. He makes his first delivery to Mr. Bear, who has been waiting for a letter from his Aunt Ursula. So if we look back at this sentence over here, we know that he has a little wagon and that he is walking around with his wagon to drop off the mail to everyone's houses. And then if I skip up to here, and let's say there were no pictures and I just had to read it, it says, at the birds, Mr. Postmouse climbs up, up, up into the trees. Luckily, he isn't afraid of heights. So we also know the setting where this story takes place. There are trees there and that he's climbing up the trees. So just by reading, if there weren't any pictures, we could imagine this scene in our head, but this has pictures so we can also see it as well. So now over here we can see on this page how we can figure out the setting through the sounds. If there wasn't a picture and it says, Mr. Postmouse lets nothing stand in the way of his deliveries, gurgle, gurgle, that kind of has the sound of him going underwater and swimming underneath, the little air bubbles coming up. So we can have our setting, we can see it by the words we read, by the sounds that are making, and the dates that they say. So in our book, they said Monday. So we knew the setting was on Monday in the woods. It's also in the ocean, where the story is taking place. So now let's go over the setting one last time. The setting is the time and place in which the story takes place. So where the story is happening and when the story is happening. And we can do that by describing the environment, the time of day or year, an historical period, a situation, or a place. So today I want you to, again, you can pick a book at home. Remember, Epic is only available 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you're watching this not during those hours, I would pick a book from home. I want you to write down, take notes about the setting, and then there will be a little quiz on Edmodo where you're going to tell me the book you read, and then describe the setting to me. And remember, when we are describing, we want to write in our complete sentences, which means the first letter is always capitalized in our sentence, and there's always a period or punctuation at the end. And that is it for today. And then again, continue to write on the same notes, because next week we're going to finish our elements of a story. All right, thank you.